Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DC Daily. Since the release of Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, the question has been, what do you want as a DC fan? The MCU, which makes bland May individual movies, but has a plan, goes from movie to movie. The movies are just episodic TV shows and they don't really matter after you've seen them. Or would you rather a great movie that has a continuing story? In my opinion, Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice and Zack Snyder's Justice League are great movies telling a continuing tangent within its storytelling. But that's the question. It's a cultural question I'm asking on today's DC Daily. What's more important? Bragging that a DC movie has made $1 billion or a great movie? Now today, audiences and media and pundit believe $1 billion is that seal of approval of a great movie. But how many MCU movies that have made $1 billion or more are actually great movies? Is Captain Marvel a great movie? Not in my opinion. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it, but it's not a memorable, great movie. For me, the Snyderverse makes great movies. The Snyders make great movies. If you want an MCU-style franchise, then you are going to reject what Zack Snyder did. You know, with his 3 movies, as well as Wonder Woman 2017, which was also a great movie, which his involvement is so blatantly obvious in that film. But as I say, it depends what you want now, because there's decisions being made right now in the halls of powers of Warner Brothers Discovery. And, you know, they have to decide this as well. Can they even do what Feige's done? Do they want to do what Feige's done? The history of Warner Brothers, the good history of Warner Brothers, is about giving the director a budget and letting said director do what they want. Whether that's amazing to you or made to you, that's always been the idea of Warner Brothers. Now, these days, we saw what happened under Kevin Sugihara and, you know, Toby Emmerich, who is still the chairman of Warner Brothers Pictures PLC. His idea is to try and make as much money as possible. But when we look at Zack Snyder, and before you reject the idea of Snyder and his good wife Deborah Snyder running DC Studios, would you support something that deletes Superman in a Flash movie and replaces Supergirl with Superman when they should be standing together? Or would you rather do something like what the Snyders wanted to do, which was to tell a story of Superman, you know, having to earn the right to be Superman and then leading out a meta-human army against the forces of Darkseid? I think it's up to you at this point. You can make your voices heard, because this could be the beginning and the continuation of the Snyderverse and something great. Or you can reject that and say, we'd rather have the Flash movie because Michael Keaton's going to cameo in that movie. Is that enough for you? Are you happy for Henry Cavill's Superman never to be seen again? We know what the Snyders would do. They would reject the deletion of Henry Cavill's Superman. What do you want here? Those of you who don't like what Snyder did with the DCEU, why didn't you like it? Because his lighting or his tonal palette is darker than what Feige does, or what you've seen in Shazam or the Aquaman movie? Or are you willing to forego those things and see a proper movie and a proper story? Snyder's DC movies have depth and storytelling, and they look tremendous, and the guy reads the comics, understands the comics, and is passionate about the comics. Yes, he wanted to put these heroes in the real world, and I can understand that some of you have rejected that, but ultimately Is what he did so bad? Is it so bad to ask the question, what would a real world Superman be like? Do you despise his version of Superman in Man of Steel, BVS and the Snyder Cut so badly that you'd rather support what's happening with the Flash movie and the kind of Justice League they're going to give you? Do you think it's right that you'll never see Superman again in the DCEU? Are you happy to see, social media exchanges between Sasha Calle and Leslie Grace and say, hey, the girls are there now, right? We don't need a Batman. We don't need a Superman. Is that what you really want? Or do you believe in Superman? Do you believe that Superman should be front and center as he was in the Snyderverse? A great Batman that ultimately will sacrifice himself. And then, Lois Lane and Superman's son becoming the next Batman, telling a compelling story. That's the question today here on the DC Daily. Do you want $1 billion? Do you want everyone telling you the franchise you support is the best thing ever? Or do you want depth? Do you want wizardry? Do you want someone like Snyder doing something amazing? Or are you just happy with episodic movies that do jack shit? Movies that you'll never talk about again, like Wonder Woman 84. If you don't watch Snyder, right, and you support Hamada, that's what you're going to get. Movies like Wonder Woman 84 and Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. What do you want to happen here? And this is the question that DC fans have to answer if you don't want Snyder to come back. I do, because I believe this man is the real deal. He was rejected for very silly, dumb reasons. This is not our Batman, because our Batman doesn't kill. Yes, his Batman killed because he was depressed and angry and bitter. But by the end of BVS, he became the Batman we knew and we loved. And he was that Batman again in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. So what exactly is your problem now with Batfleck, with Affleck's Batman, who actually is one of the greatest Batmen in live action? What do you want here? Is a Michael Keaton cameo enough for you? These are the questions I'm asking today. Now, Zack Snyder has been very, very ruthless in fighting for control of the DC Extended Universe, and he's still fighting for control today. I'm still very cynical about the Ezra Miller situation. Is this something that Ezra Miller has done to destabilize the Hamada-verse to bring back Snyder? It wouldn't surprise me. You're going to say, but Mick, who would do this stuff? Who would destroy their career? And you're right. But I'm also a very, very cynical person. The truth of the matter is here, boys and girls, and you who identify in different ways, your voice is absolutely valid and welcome, whoever you are, when you come onto this channel. But that's my opinion. My opinion is that Snyder is the real deal. I love his DC movies. And if you gave me a choice between the Hamadaverse and the Snyderverse, I would take the Snyderverse every single week and every single fucking day. Zack Snyder's Justice League, an amazing, unique movie. BVS the same. And Man of Steel is the film for today. It's the representation of Superman today. He represents what he should be today. If you prefer the Dean Cain Superman or the Christopher Reeve Superman, I love Christopher Reeve Superman. I wouldn't be a DC fan without his Superman, right? Or a Superman fan, but his Superman will not work today. It's as simple as that. So these are the things that you have to ask yourselves. Snyder had a plan. His Superman was going to be the Superman you read in the comics. He was just taking his time. He was just telling a story. Do you want $1 billion a picture movies that really don't say very much or do very much? Or do you want something deep, something that looks tremendous? Do you want art? Do you want great movies or do you want the MCU? Of course, if Snyder does come back and you do want the MCU, pack your bags and support the MCU. This whole entire mess started because people weren't patient with Snyder. People didn't allow Snyder to tell his story. And it's bad etiquette, everyone. When someone starts their story, good, bad, or indifferent, you allow them to tell their story, to sing their song. Then you judge it. And when that person's finished, then you say no more. That's all that Warner Brothers had to do. Allow him to finish his 5-picture story, and then he was willing to move on. He would have set up a flashpoint for a new creative to come in, as they do in the comic books. And we are in this regrettable situation because an artist wasn't allowed to finish what they were painting, to finish the song that they were singing. And I think it's sacrilege, rude, disrespectful, never mind using the death of the man's daughter to wilt him out of what was rightfully his. He doesn't own DC. He doesn't have any rights to DC. But I say that Snyder is the right man in the right era to run a DC live action universe. This has been the DC Daily here on Movies TV Mad with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again on Wednesday's edition of the DC Daily. Until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.